Hi, I'm Bill Arnold. Thank you for listening to this podcast. There are many more podcasts available at myfaithradio.com. Your support makes this possible. Thank you. This show comes with an extended warranty. Some conditions may apply.
Oh, don't you know, it's the Bill Arnold Show. It's Bill.
And a warm welcome to the Bill Arnold Show. I'm the Bill Arnold part of that short sentence. I'm so glad that we're going to spend some time together. I love Mondays, and I hope you do as well. I'm looking forward to getting reconnected to a guest of mine that I haven't had on for a long time. And she's written a new book called The Great Tech Reset. Here's a great line that she said. She said, "Technology is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master." And the goal isn't to eliminate screens, it's to ensure they don't replace the relationships, conversations, and moments that matter most. Now, I have a respect for technology. I love it myself, but I did grow up without it, and I do have some very fond affection for the good old days when people would simply talk to each other. Why? You probably don't remember that because you grew up with technology.
Well, it was just coming around as I was growing up, to your point, 8, 9, 10 years old. And yeah, I guess I would say I can't remember the good old days that you're referring to, but it wasn't as bad even 10, 15 years ago like it is now. I feel like it's gotten much worse even just in the last 5, 10 years. Yeah,
so nowadays when you say, if I asked you, have you talked to your mother today, why you'd say something like, well, yeah, I texted her earlier. I go, no, I asked if you spoke to her.
All right. I mean,
but that's how we talk to each other now, is with texting.
So many people would prefer a text message over a phone call, and that gets into the whole argument. Is that really connecting? Is that really a conversation? So, yeah, it's a slippery slope when it comes to technology, and we can get very comfortable just doing those things, but we need connection with one another. There's no doubt.
You know, I've said this before on the show, and I love the good old days when you'd go to the gym and there would be no one with earbuds in because they hadn't been invented yet. And everyone talked to each other. Everyone encouraged each other. There was a certain community there. Now everybody sits around and looks at their phone at the gym. I don't get that.
Yeah.
You know, why buy from membership? Just stay home and look at your phone. Do some sit-ups in front of the TV.
You could. That's very true.
Anyway, Arlene Pellicane is not only a speaker and author of several books, including Screen Kids, Making Marriage Easier, Parents Rising, and Calm, Cool, and Connected. 5 Digital Habits for a More Balanced Life. She's been on the Today Show, the Wall Street Journal, Fox and Friends, Focus on the Family. She's kind of an all-star. Arlene, so nice to have you back on.
It's so nice to be back and talking. We've got earbuds, but we're actually talking. We're talking to one another. That's good.
We are talking, and there's a certain fabric to face-to-face communication and just hearing another person's voice that makes such a difference in a people's world. Otherwise, you end up kind of lonely.
It's so true. Yeah, and the promise is, use this technology and it will connect you. Right. And it seems that way. It's like, wow, I can talk to someone in another state, in another country. Wow. And it can. But for most of us, for our own lives, and especially for the lives of children, you see, wait a minute, child of mine, you are sitting in your room for 5 hours, which is kind of normal now, doing quote unquote social media. And I don't see that that's very social.
Mm-hmm. So we're not bashing technology. I love it. You love it. And,
we do.
You know, it's really a part of everyone's life, everybody's family. So I'm trying to figure out.
We are not equal opportunity bashers. We will bash the addictive, harmful technology. That is what we want to bash. The addictive, harmful technology that is given to people too young. Let's bash that. Everything else, it's okay. You guys can keep using your computers and your phones. It's all right.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Great Tech Reset. What was your motivation for this one?
Yeah. You know, my kids have gotten older, Bill, since we last talked. So I have a college graduate, a college senior, and a high school senior. And we have just seen that if you can raise kids who have other interests, you know, if you ask a kid today, what do you like to do? They're like, I like to be on my phone. I like to watch videos. I like to watch YouTube. I like video games. And there's hardly anything else. So our kids, because they grew up with this technology author that knew all these facts, were like, oh yeah, we're not allowed to do those things. So we have to go do other stuff. And we've just found, wow, life is so much easier and better and richer. And I think at the end of The Anxious Generation coming out with John Haidt and people understanding, wait a minute, this isn't just our gut feeling. Now the research is showing, since 2010, since all these phones were adopted, social media, video games, everything, all these numbers, 145 increase in girl depression, 161 increase for boys, anxiety up 134%,
Wow.
13% addicted, 15% addicted to video games, boys. So when you hand a boy a video game, that's right. It doesn't mean, you're going to become this violent child who's addicted to video games. That's right. You might not, but you have a 15% chance of becoming that. And there really is no consumer product or food that any parent or grandparent would say, oh yeah, that's a 15% chance you'll get cancer or get sick. Let's go for it. Mm-hmm. So the Great Tech Reset is at this time, because we know a lot more now. And now that we know of these harms, are we going to keep raising our 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds with these harms, or are we going to do something about it? And it's also a message to those of us who we feel entrenched. We already have these bad habits, but the Great Tech Reset is also very hopeful that even if your child is 18, that you still could reset parts of the day to reclaim that connection back.
Mm-hmm. Arlene, does anyone want to just listen anymore, or do they want to be watching people speak?
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my goodness.
Radio used to be the imagination of the mind, the theater of the mind, and now if you want to reach the next generation, we have to be on video as well. We just can't be just a radio station, and we would just want to grow with the kingdom and try to reach this next generation. So we need to be on video pretty soon, and we're going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you read things like Amusing Ourselves to Death, Neil Postman, which
Yes.
was, I believe, in the 1980s. And you're just thinking, like, how did you know that these things would happen? And it really is because of the way in which material is presented. So even, TV itself, a kid might not be able to even sit through a 15-minute thing, right? Because now they're so used to a 20-second short on TikTok or a 20-second short on YouTube that their attention span is getting less and less. So I do think you're right to look at the ways that, we need to be in these different places with good content, but also understand that, wait a minute, we need ourselves, children, to be able to have a sustained attention. And that does mean listening to radio once in a while. It's good for us. Just let me calm myself down and let me really get into the content, because how much can you really truly understand after 20 seconds of something, and then a child is scrolling through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those? They're not getting any kind of deep understanding of God or the world.
Arlene, I was thinking about even juries coming up. Can this next generation even sit in a courtroom and listen to discourse, or would it be better if we just sent them facts to their phone?
Isn't that crazy? If they please put all of these cases in shorts,
Yes.
and we will watch it in 15 minutes and then come up with which image we think looked better. Right? It's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I hadn't thought of that the jury system is a bit in danger.
Well, that occurred to me because that's not how they consume information anymore. To sit and listen to maybe a couple of hours of someone talking.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about kids and their phones and their video games and their social media. I know that you and your husband decided that you were going to wait, and you must have had incredible pushback, or maybe you didn't.
That's the surprise, right?
Yeah.
So, but I will cut to the chase. We actually didn't.
Okay.
And here's why.
Because you're cool
Our
parents.
kids, they're in elementary school, right? They're little. And my husband, James, is a realtor, and he takes out people. We live in San Diego. So beautiful place to live. People are in this van, and none of the kids are looking out the window, his clients, right? They're not looking at the window. They're looking at their phones. And then they go into a potential home that they may buy. They don't run through the house. They don't look around. They sit on the couches and they just play games. And he's thinking as a young dad, wait, this is so weird. Like, what is wrong with these children? They don't look out the window. They don't look at the house they're going to buy and have an opinion. They just sit on the couch and play games. And he made a decision that is not going to be our children. Wow. So from very early on, our kids, it was the power of bad, seeing like, we don't want that really motivated us. So from the beginning, our kids, we would say, see that kid with the tablet? You're never going to have one of those. See that kid with the phone? You're not going to have one of those either. See these people going into middle school carrying a phone? Yeah, you're just going to ride your bike and you're just going to use your friend's phone if you get in an emergency. So they knew like there is no way. So there was no pushback because they knew this is how it goes and there's no stopping them. It's like, oh, I'm quote unquote strict as the author person, but my husband is twice as strict as I am in terms of being able to lay out this plan. So they knew, and it didn't take long for them to realize, wait a minute, this is actually not that bad. It was kind of shocking to them. My daughter Noelle will say when she was in middle school, she was shocked because a girl would say to her, "You're so lucky." And she's like, "Why?" She goes, because you're not addicted to this. You don't like go home every day and like look at this all the time. And she was really surprised. So my son, Ethan, what he found is people weren't like, oh, like I can't talk to you. You don't have a phone. You don't play video games. They were more curious, like, how do you do that? What planet are you from?
Right.
So as long as your children, have interests that they like, have friends in real life, right? So I'm not saying that this poor child who has zero interest, who has no friends, and then now you take away all their devices. So this child does need to have skills, like something they love, whether it's cooking or drawing or building motorcycles, I don't care, but something that they love and that they do it and you support them in that and they know you're totally for them, they will very quickly realize that that is a better way to live.
Arlene, I've got this theory that when you're 13, the things that you complain about with your parents are the very things you brag about when you're 20 and you're sitting in a college dorm. Yeah, when I was 13, my parents wouldn't let me in. Now they're bragging about their parents.
That's right. No, it's so true. It is so true because now that my kids are graduated, 2 of them out of high school, 1 is senior in high school, they will say like, yeah, thank you. I have no problem concentrating. I can get my own job. I'm not afraid to talk to adults. Like, thank you. Like they get it.
Yeah, I had a show on recently and we were talking about loneliness and aloneness. Yeah. Of course, those are 2 different things. But the amount of loneliness in the world is really devastating for so many people.
It is.
They're having trouble connecting and they're waiting to get a text message from somebody that doesn't come. And the whole thing is there's too much isolation and not enough community.
And, I read this statistic from the Wall Street Journal. They did a study of college students, like 33,000 of them. And they found that 2 out of 3 said they were lonely. And I thought, can you remember being in college, Bill? Let's both go back. Like, it was pretty easy to make friends. Because
easy. Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
The whole place is filled of people your age, maybe, your same major.
Yep.
It's just crazy. And think of us now as adults, how hard it is to find someone with your same interests, with your same age, your same station of life. Like, college is the easiest place to make friends. So if kids are not able to do that, it's because we have not been taught the social skills, right? To talk to someone, like they're scared to talk to each other. And then you have the default of, oh, this is awkward. Let me just look at my phone. Or, it's before class and I don't know who to talk to, so I'll just look at my phone. Mm-hmm. And that is not good. That's not good.
I live in Minnesota and funny because Minnesota is, you have all the friends you'll ever need for your entire life and you made them all in first grade.
Yes.
So if you and James and family move from San Diego to Minnesota, which I promise you'll never do, but you would maybe have a hard time finding friends because we all have all the friends we need.
Yeah. We met them in kindergarten.
Right. So that's why church and community are so critical. But this whole idea, Arlene, of you're in the line checking out with groceries and you could have a conversation with the person behind you, but you'd rather just look at your phone. Or the student who says, I don't know who I can talk to, so I'll look at my phone. There's this constant head down. No one's talking to each other. Everyone's looking at their phone. I think it's a dangerous trend.
I think you're right. Because you're missing the humanity.
Yes.
And that's why we're so lonely. Because I could talk to someone at the grocery store, but I don't, and you miss all these opportunities. And most of the time it's just something little and it's nothing earth shattering. But once in a while, like we have met people in the line. This is funny. This goes back to your like you meet people in first grade. We were in line. We had little kids. I was holding diapers. The lady in front of me was holding diapers. And of course that turned into a conversation. And we are still friends to this day. So that's, 20 years ago that we exchanged we're Christmas card friends. We're those kinds of friends.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And that was from standing in line at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every day you should say to God, who's the one person that I might encounter today? How do I be prepared? How do I be aware so that I might have that conversation that 20 years later I'm still exchanging Christmas cards with a friend I met checking out holding diapers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I want to credit it correctly, but it was a book I was reading. It's the one who wrote The TechWise Family. So those of you who know who that is, so forgive me, but that's the author. But he talked about when you walk through the airport, he said he would think of all these people, image bearer, image bearer.
Yep.
And he did this exercise of just looking at every single person and how different it made him feel about being just in this very commuter type environment, realizing this person in a wheelchair, image bearer.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
little kid running down the hall, image bearer.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a beautiful way to go shopping, to do other things, is just think in your mind, that is an image bearer. You pick up your kid at school, that little kid who just stuck his tongue out at me, image bearer, whatever
yeah.
it is, and keep it in mind.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a short break. Arlene Pellicane is my guest. She spells her last name Pellicane, and her book is called The Great Tech Reset. We'll be right back. When you text FAITH to 41224, you'll be sent a series of text messages over the next few weeks. Each message will provide you with resources that explain the promise Jesus makes and what a relationship with Him can look like. Explore more about who Jesus is and what He taught. Text the word FAITH to 41224. Welcome back to the show. Arlene Pellicane is my guest, and Wyatt, you were talking to Arlene during the break, and she dropped some pretty exciting news.
You want me to share it, or should we have her share it? I mean,
well, let's all share it.
Okay,
let's start with you, Arlene.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this new book I have, The Great Tech Reset, is not $10. It's not $20. It's going to be free. So the publisher, Summit Ministries, wants to offer it to families as a gift. So all you have to do is go to techresetbook.com and order yourself a copy. And if you're a group, you want to get a bunch of them for your mom's group, for your school, for your church, you can literally say, I would like 20 copies of that book, and they will send it to you.
Oh,
it's pretty crazy.
fabulous.
But you have to really use them, okay? So please do actually look at the book and care that you actually want it. But it's The Great Tech Reset, and you just go to techresetbook.com.
I love that. That's a beautiful offer. Thank you for that. And I'm excited that many people will do that. So go to techresetbook.com.
Techresetbook.com. I couldn't steal that good news and take credit for it.
No, I
had to let Arlene go first.
She did a great job, too, talking about it. Okay, Arlene, let's talk about AI. That seems to be kind of a game changer, in my opinion.
Ooh, I think you're right. So AI is not a stranger to us. AI is the reason why those algorithms are so good, right? So it's been there the whole time in social media and other things. It was recommending things, etc. And that first race was the race for attention. Like, let's grab the attention of a 12-year-old, of a 15-year-old. And I think they've done that. Good job. So this next phase of AI is, let's just go one more deeper and let's attach to these children and let's be their best buddy. So you're either looking at AI for companionship, AI for advice, right? It all starts real innocent, and these poor kids, because the kids are not looking for it. They may have a school issued laptop that an AI assistant just pops up, like they're not looking for it. And there's the AI assistant. And who in the world is going to look at an AI assistant as a 14-year-old and say, oh yeah, I'm just going to do my own work? No, you're going to have the assistant do the work for you. It just keeps showing up. So we have a real danger educationally of kids using AI to do their work for them and never learning how to do it themselves, right? That's a different picture than an engineer using it to make themselves 3 times more productive. But they can check the work and they know, oh, that work is wrong. And they'll reprompt the AI and they'll do it again. For kids, they don't know the skills. So they're literally, losing life skills. They're losing learning ability, all those things. So in that sense, AI, I believe, is very dangerous for kids to do the work that they need to learn how to do themselves. And obviously, a kid has to learn how to write, how to do math, and AI just makes all of those things way too easy. And how are they going to learn those things? And then really on a much more deep level, if a child grows up and they talk to AI and AI talks back to the child, right? It's audible. It's affirming. It never gives you any problems. It thinks you're the greatest kid on earth, right? And then this same child, you say, oh, talk to God. And the child thinks, well, God doesn't talk back to me, so I don't know if he's there. This Bible stuff seems kind of hard. Like, I'm not real sure about it. He wants to correct me. He says I have sin. I don't really like that much. I mean, you can see for children, if they start getting really used to having AI around, they're going to say, this God thing is a little bit too hard. So we really need to be very careful and ask those questions. How is this impacting the way my child learns, the way they pray, the way they seek answers to their questions? A kid who's raised on technology prays and then thinks, well, I better get the answer tomorrow. Right? Or else this God thing must not be real.
Right.
And obviously that's not how this works. So it really is a concern.
I just did a show last week on waiting patiently. And that's something we all as believers have to do, waiting on the Lord. And AI gives you an answer within about 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. And parents, we do have to wake up. We think, oh, they're using it for their homework. But they're showing statistically that they're using it for like romantic role play, for sexual things 3 times as much as they're using it for homework. So
I'm hearing this for the first time.
How is this actually being used?
Yeah. All right. In the book, you created a list of technological harms using the acronym ABCD.
Yes.
I want to hear about those.
I like acronyms. And so when these lined up, I was like, yes. I was like, this is great. What I'm trying to do is we kind of know ad nauseum, okay, the phone can be addictive. Social media is bad for kids. Video games are bad for kids. Yeah, we know. And I wanted parents in particular and grandparents to be able to look at a phone, look at a tablet, and realize, wait a minute, let's call this thing really what it is. So it's an anxiety amplifier. If my kid already is anxious, man, this thing is just going to put their anxiety through the roof. If my kid is happy-go-lucky, carefree, they're going to get a phone, and believe me, they will get something to worry about. So anxiety amplifier. B, it's a bad babysitter that if I left my children and I came home 3 hours later and they were still in their clothes, they were eating chips, and it was way past their bedtime, and they were looking at a rated R movie, I would be like, you are a bad babysitter and you need to get out of my house. Mm-hmm. But we'll put them in front of a tablet that will cause them not to eat, not to get dressed, to watch, for bed, get ready for bed, and to watch all sorts of things that they shouldn't be watching. And so we need to call this thing out and say, you are a bad babysitter. C, a childhood killer, that once a child gets a tablet, you'll think, wait a minute, why is the cul-de-sac empty? Where did all the kids go that used to play here? So once they get that device, the childhood swiftly closes. All the things of childhood become childish to this kid because now they're having to grow up too fast. So it's a childhood killer. And the D is a dopamine dealer that once that high of, wow, look at all the likes I got. Whoa, I'm really crushing it in this video game. Wow, I've just seen this, my first hit of a image I shouldn't be looking at. That dopamine, what can compare to that? So for parents to realize, wow, there are ABCD harms. This is an anxiety amplifier, a bad babysitter, a childhood killer, and a dopamine dealer. And I'm going to think twice before I buy this for my child or my grandchild.
Arlene, the whole idea about amplifying anxiety, that is so real. And I've talked to friends that have had kids and grandkids that they're already concerned about the anxiety they're getting from what they're included on, what they're excluded from, and the comparison game and everything else. And I'm concerned that is not helping at all.
Totally. We get this as parents because our children say, I'll be left out if I don't have it.
Oh, I know.
And you don't want your child to be left out. But then you give them a phone, and does that solve it? It's like, wow, now on social media, they really see how left out they are, right? So for us to realize this is not the answer to say, okay, we'll let you have this, child of mine, because now instead of, it used to be when we were kids, you just have to kind of act cool in the class, like in between classes and at recess and after school, and then you get to go home and just kind of relax and be your goofy self. Well, once a kid gets all this in their phone, they have to perform. They have to get likes. They have to be part of it all the time, never off. And that's exhausting. And a child should not have to do that. And then obviously they're fed all sorts of things in their algorithm that make them sad or anxious or depressed or mad. So then they can be offered a solution, a medicine, wear more makeup, lose some 5 pounds, whatever. So it's selling them problems so it can sell them solutions. And it's really hard for kids.
That is very troubling. I am concerned that not only kids but adults as well can find themselves isolating, and that is a problem as well. Adults obviously know what they're doing, but still, it's. I think it keeps you away from real connections.
Yeah, it's very true.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what eases anxiety, to share your burdens with someone else, right? If you talk it out with a friend and I feel so much better that I've talked this out with you. But we're being kind of conformed that, we'll just solve this ourselves on our phone, and we'll just watch the YouTube video that will solve this problem for me, instead of, I should call my grandma. She probably knows what to do about this.
Right. I'm always trying to think, how can I create healthier digital habits even for myself? And I'm okay with picking up a gimmick now and then, and I bought this little device that I can decide what apps I want access to, and then I wave the little device in front of my phone and it blocks me. So if I try to open one of those apps, I get a sign that says, "Get back to living."
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. And I have...
So that is the intentionality, right?
Yes.
You thought, I need to be intentional about putting a boundary up, and I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I've got it set up that like at 6 o'clock Sunday morning, I call it Sabbath rest. It automatically kicks into the, you can't go on apps. You can use the phone and you can use the GPS and the text, but that's it. And so for when I use this little device, it does take away everything. And the minute it's taken away, I don't think about it.
Mm. What did you find was different, like when you started using it?
Well, at first I felt a little anxious, like, what if I want to show Wyatt something on YouTube and then I can't get into my phone? And that's happened a couple times when you want access to an app that you can't use. And then I realize it's kind of a relief. It's like I've been kind of relieved from the anxiety of being in line and pulling out my phone and looking at something. So it was $50. I thought, well, money well spent.
Yeah. In one way, it's interesting. It'd be like, it's so easy to relax now. All of us, you just have to like not do something. You're like, I feel so much better.
That's exactly right,
life.
Arlene. That's exactly right. Yeah. Let me take a short break. Arlene Pellicane is my guest. Her book is called The Great Tech Reset. And Wyatt, how do they get that book? How do people get that book for free?
TechResetBook.com.
Completely free.
Completely free. How about that? Pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah. So you have a question or comment about our topic today, let me know what it is. The text line is open, 877-933-2484. We'll be right back. My guest today is Arlene Pellicane. She's written a book called The Great Tech Reset, and it's available for free, techresetbook.com. And let's see. All right. We'll deal with that later. Arlene, let's chat about excessive screen time. Does it change the development of kids' brains?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. So it's like, and you can just imagine, right? If your brain is developing, it's like a cathedral, right? You're building walls and you're building flourishes and beauty and all these things. And the way they're building it is by what they're learning and what intake they're getting, what people skills are they learning? How's their reading? Are they into music? Whatever it is, that's all being learned by the brain. And also the way that you learn, from another human being is different than just learning from a computer talking to you. It's a different way of learning. So for the brain's always going to just default to what it knows. It's a pretty lazy organ, actually. And so as your kid grows into an adult, your adult kid is just going to default to like, what is my brain used to? So if the brain is used to, I like to read, I have good reasoning skills, I have good people skills, I can apologize, then hey, they're going to grow up into an adult who can do those things. But if the brain's like, wow, I'm really good at TikTok and I'm amazing at scrolling through YouTube and I'm very good at video games and boy, I can filter those pictures like nobody's business on social media, then guess what? That's what their adult brain will be able to do as well. And so that's a sobering way to think about it, is this junior high brain, are we putting the inputs that it's going to make it into a good adult brain? And realizing that prefrontal cortex, which is the executive center of the brain that lets you know, hey, emotional regulation, you should probably stop yelling now. Reasoning and decision making, I should probably study for the test because that's in a few days. That part of the brain needs to be exercised, and that gets exercised through practice, through exerting self-control, by not getting your way and having to overcome that, by having struggle and adversity. That's what makes that part of the brain strong and healthy. But instead, a lot of kids, what are we doing, right? We are playing video games, which make the brain think, oh, the poor kid, he's running from the bear or the car or whatever it is they're running from. And instead, they're trying to keep the kid alive. So all the blood flows out of the prefrontal cortex, goes to the major organs to keep the kid alive. And you do that a few times and that's not a big deal. But you do that day after day after day. And that prefrontal cortex has very little blood flow and is very small. And that's not going to be good for kids.
Wow, that is shocking. So you said something, Arlene, a couple minutes ago. You said, what is the brain used to? And that really got my attention because with a handheld computer in your hand, you don't really have to remember anything because you have instant access to anything, anytime. And I look at Psalm 119 that says, I have hidden your word in my heart. And you want to store up God's word in your heart. And if you say to yourself, I know there's a passage in Romans, just hand me my phone, I'll find it. You're not storing it up in your heart. You've got immediate access to it. And I think there's something that we as Christians have to spend time studying and memorizing God's word.
That's so good. That's such a good point. You think of it, you don't want all these verses in the cloud.
No.
You want them in your heart. You want to know them. You want to be able to think about them and for them to change you on the inside. And you're so right. That's a huge reason why this tech reset is needed, because if we don't have the patience to read, then how are we going to read the scriptures? And if we don't read the scriptures, how are we going to memorize them and know them, right? And know the truth and be able to tell between truth and falsehood because we have the word of God inside us. So that is so important for kids to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. In the book, you lay out some different technology plans for people. Would you talk about some of those?
Yeah. So if you're listening and you have young children or young grandchildren, you really can plan ahead. Like I think of Daniel when he didn't eat the food that was defiled, he didn't make that decision right then and there, with the wonderful food looking at him and all the pressure. He pre-decided, I will not defile myself with something given to idols. I will keep myself pure for God. And there does need to be that pre-decision in a family of, okay, we kind of know how this is going to go. So we're going to pre-decide to delay things that put predators in touch with our kids, right? That feed them things from the world that we don't even believe in. So that pre-decision for those of you who have young kids can look like what I call the platinum plan, the gold plan, and the silver plan. Door number 1, 2, and 3. And the platinum plan is what we did. And it is no social media, no video games, and no personal device until your senior year of high school or later. Platinum plan. Let them have their full childhood. Let them so you still have technology.
Yeah.
You use a laptop. They had a Google Voice number that they could text friends from their laptop. They could use my phone whenever they wanted to reach out to a friend, follow someone on Instagram, etc. But it wasn't their own and they didn't have their own account. So that's the platinum. Very few, but it is possible. Then we have the gold, which is exactly the same way until age 16. So you say, hey, until my kid's 16, we're going to push off social media, video games, and phones. And then the silver plan is, okay, we have those things in my child's life, but we will put in 9 hours of sleep or more a night. Like we will treasure sleep. We will fight for that so they'll be well rested. 1 hour of exercise a day and 2 hours or less of just all that digital candy, what my friend Claire Morrell actually calls digital fentanyl. So 2 hours or less of all the yummy stuff and start there. And if you listen to that and you think, oh man, my kids are way too far gone, then maybe it looks like if they're on 7 hours a day, let's get it down to 5. Let's do a digital Sabbath on Sundays and do that as a family. Let's take back the meal time and have a screen-free meal. And maybe it's hardest for mom and dad to put down their phone.
Right.
This could be hardest for you. Maybe it's a 1-week fast where all of you say, hey, let's do a challenge. Like who can stay off YouTube the longest? Or who can stay off video games the longest, and include dad and mom in all this. So make it fun and enthusiastic because the idea is we are trying to get you guys to engage with real life that will be healthy and which will make you feel so good. And again, I live in the real world. I know no one's going to say, wow, you listened to the Bill Arnold show and now they're taking away my phone at night. Fantastic. Right? They're going to be like, you can never listen to that radio program again. So I get that. So you're not going to win any popularity points. But guess what? We're parents or grandparents. And we're the ones who have to say, this is unhealthy for you. So I'm going to limit it. And you may be very mad at me for a very long time. But it's not going to change the fact that I love you, that I want to protect you. And this is going to be our new normal. And start small with something that you can do. Maybe that meal time, maybe collecting the devices at night to make sure they get a good night's sleep, and then build from there.
Arlene, you said another thing too. You said that I think it was your daughter, that if she needed to make a call, she could use your phone. And that leads me to the point that it was unimaginable for me as a kid to think that I could lead some kind of secret life.
Right.
Because we had a phone, and every time you got on the phone, everyone heard what you were saying.
Totally.
You had no secrets, and now kids can take their personal cell phones and pull it out from underneath their pillow and be communicating with who knows who.
Yeah. No, you're so right. It's so true because it used to be we would, and again, we understand this is not the world we live in.
I know.
The principle is still correct. The mom or dad would answer the phone. Oh, it's Jeremy. Oh, we don't like Jeremy. Sorry. She's not home. And you can put that phone down. Right. And it's because parents have the wisdom, and your kids do need protecting. So you're 100% right. And even from a financial perspective, you think, okay, I have a 3-year-old. I don't personally, but you get it. You've got a 3-year-old that's carrying like a $500 phone around. Like, who does that? Nobody does that. So all this that we think it's normal, right? For these little kids, half of 2 to 4-year-olds have their own phone or tablet right now in America.
Whoa.
And you just think that is like a very expensive object to give to a 3-year-old. So
No kidding.
even from a financial perspective, say, wait a minute, let's pause on that.
What about unfavorable influencers and or groomers, predators that might be masquerading as someone they're not?
Oh my goodness, this is just a huge problem because you can imagine if you are a bad actor, you used to have to like become a coach or become like be someone who works, a leader that works with children to have access to this children. I mean, you had to do a lot of work to try to harm a child. But today, wow, someone can just basically follow a bunch of people on social media. And as a 13-year-old, so they pretend they're a 13-year-old boy. He's really cute. He follows all these people. So then, and it's like a numbers game. So he'll follow all these different people in a school. And then he'll ask, let's say, to be your daughter's friend. And then your daughter will say, oh, he knows 10 of my friends because he can see that they have those relationships. This guy must be okay. And he's cute too. And then they're having this whole conversation for a long time with them thinking that he's this boy, and they're just, you're so beautiful. I think you're beautiful. I mean, can you imagine if you were a mother or father, how you would just come unglued thinking that some creepy adult man was talking to your child? So we do need to get that disgust and that like, no, you're not going to reach my child that way. So social media is a huge way of how they groom children. Things are so sexualized so that, you look at the girls today and you think, my goodness, like the way they are taught to dress and put on their makeup, it's so much older than what they are. And so to understand, wait, I don't want my child to think that's normal. That's not normal for a 13-year-old. We got to go back on that. So really look, these apps and, things you think your kid is playing Roblox, but there's so many places in Roblox that kids can go that are just terrible places with predators. So we have to think twice about all of these things where someone can reach your child.
All right, we're going to take one more short break. Our guest is Arlene Pellicane, Pellicane, and her book is called The Great Tech Reset. You can get a free copy of it today. All you have to do is go online to Great Tech Reset Book. Okay, Wyatt, give it to me straight. TechResetBook.com. TechResetBook.com. Arlene, thanks for not chiming in and embarrassing me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We'll be right back. And a warm welcome. 10 out of 10 people will say you are not here by accident. If you're a brand new listener, you can request a welcome pack that includes goodies and swag and information on ways to connect and grow in your faith. This is a way for you to connect and find community. Request your welcome pack today. Text the word welcome to 877-933-2484 and follow the link or request one at myfaithradio.com. I'm back with Arlene Pellicane, and we're talking about her book, The Great Tech Reset, and it is available for free right now. Wyatt, let's hear that one more time.
TechResetBook.com.
Perfect. All right. Arlene, a listener named Jeremy said, why don't you and Wyatt and Arlene reminisce on how many phone numbers you remember from your childhood?
Yes. No, I can remember those phone numbers. My husband has an amazing memory, and he could probably rattle off all of his friends very easily. And do you know, I have a confession. Like, remember how my kids didn't have phones and then they didn't get them until right before college?
Yeah.
I literally do not know their phone numbers.
Okay.
My own children, because I
Ooh.
just have it under favorites. Like, I took time to memorize them. I knew them about a year ago. And now I've completely fallen out. I know like several numbers out of the numbers, but I don't know.
You can't
the
string them
whole
all
number
together.
to my own children. That is shameful. I'm gonna make that a task to memorize those. But yeah, I used to know a lot of numbers.
Well, I just said to Wyatt, I said, Wyatt, do you know my phone number? And he goes, no. And I said, well, don't take that. My feelings aren't hurt because I don't know yours either.
Yeah.
And because we don't need to know them.
We don't need to know.
Yeah.
Remember how we talked earlier about how the brain is lazy? It will just default. And it's like, yeah, you don't need to know that. You can just press a button.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about, when I go online and I sometimes will watch videos of pastors and Bible teachers, and I think there's still plenty of bad teaching out there.
Yes. Yeah. No, and this is discernment, right?
Yes, it is.
This is discernment to know the Word of God, to have read it, to know enough about your Bible that you know, wait, that did not sound right. That let me look into it myself. Right. And then you would then, and obviously as adults, that's our hope. Then we would be able to look at the Bible and find it ourselves. But you can imagine for kids, if they're being shown things and it's just a one-sided thing, that they're not going to know the difference. And you do see all those warnings against false teaching in the New Testament that you realize, wow, like this is for real.
Okay, Arlene, how can parents encourage their kids to have healthy habits with technology if they're struggling themselves?
Yes. The first thing first, parent, you say to your child, you know what? I know I haven't been the best example to you. And I've realized that today. So a question to ask ourselves is, if our children or grandchildren use technology just like us, would I be okay with that? Would I be happy with that? And, and I say grandparents because a lot of grandmas and grandpas, I've seen you spend a lot of time on YouTube. So it's all of us. So would we be happy, thrilled if our children used it just like us? And if the answer is yes, then carry on. You're a good example. And then talk to your kids, ask them questions about it, and be really engaged with them and give them those firm boundaries. But if you're like most people and say, yeah, I'm not that great at this myself, then it looks like, child of mine, I'm sorry. I have been distracted. Sometimes I neglect you. I don't mean to, because I'm watching my show, or I'm getting caught up on my email, or I'm buying shoes online, whatever it is. I'm sorry. And you know what? I'm going to take you out once a month to a pancake breakfast, just you and me. So an apology, an acknowledge, I need to work on this too. Let's work on this together. And hey, let's plan something screen-free, just you and me. Mm-hmm.
So, Arlene, where do you struggle with? Because obviously you've got to be online a lot during the day, because this is what you do for work. And do you have a place where you think, I've got to do some personal work myself?
Yeah, mine is on my desktop. So I'm pretty good on my phone. But I don't do social media on my phone, and I have it in grayscale, so it's not as exciting. I learned that from my son, actually, my oldest son, who's 22.
What is that?
So you just put it, instead of it being all colorful, you put it in grayscale, so everything looks black and white. Yeah. And then it's easy to change it back when you need to look at it for a picture. But it's nice. I really like it, because then it's not so appealing and you get used to it. It's much more calming and soothing. Mine is wanting to just keep going perpetual. Like, let me just get one more email in. Oh, I have 10 minutes right now, even though I should be with my family. Oh, I think I can write the introduction to that in this 10 minutes. So I'm constantly checking my email. Maybe something important's in there. Wyatt might be trying to reach out to me right now. That's why I could reach out to you guys so quickly. It's because I'm looking at my email all the time. So mine
You did respond quickly to the show,
right?
which I appreciate,
So too much email. And then obviously, just like everyone else, you go to YouTube to look up a certain talk that I want to see. And then before I know it, I'm watching movie trailers. And I could be watching like a pastor talk, and it's nice. But I'm like, wait, that's not what I came here for. So the YouTube hole, too much email. Those are, and shopping, looking at Amazon, looking for a deal, travel, thinking of like, where do I want to travel next? How much are those tickets? All that stuff.
Well, the technology ship has sailed, so we're not saying anything other than the goal is not to eliminate the screens, but it's just to make sure that we're cultivating and enjoying moments that are going to matter the most. Real time with people, face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact, all the kind of things that really matter in life. And then we're not just reduced to sending text to one another.
Yeah. And it's not a complicated solution. These are very simple things, but they have to be intentional. You'll never drift into it. You'll never drift into like, amazing tech use, and you're so connected to your loved ones.
Right.
You have to do that intentionally.
Right. Arlene, thanks for coming on. It's been really nice talking to you again.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Bill. Thanks, Wyatt.
Yep. Thanks so much. Arlene Pellicane has been my guest. And again, if you are interested in her book, Wyatt, I'm going to let you talk about that one more time.
techresetbook.com. We've been getting some notes from people saying that it's not working, but if you scroll down on the website, there's another link that is working. So techresetbook.com, and you should be able to request a free copy of that book.
Sweet. And what have we got coming up in the second hour?
Stephanie Wilhelm going to talk about creation and why it's crucial to our faith on top of sharing the gospel with children. And then we got something else planned in the back half of the hour as well.
Looking forward to that. We're going to take a short break and be right back with plenty more. Hour 2 is just ahead. Thanks for listening. Programming like this is made available through your support. Information available at myfaithradio.com.